Veridical out-of-body experiences confirm non-local minds and the supernatural. In previous videos, we provided an overview of how veridical near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences provide evidence for non-local minds and the supernatural. In this video, I discuss an out-of-body experience from a friend that I know in person and its implications. Some years ago, an agnostic atheist was referred to me, who was interested in dialogue. For several years, he and I met, once a week or so, to discuss the strongest evidence and arguments for and against the existence of God. For several years, he was resistant to the evidence. He would collect the strongest atheist arguments that he could find and throw them at me. This continued until after a few years of our meetings, his wife had an out-of-body experience that puzzled him. Up to that point, he was a metaphysical materialist. His wife's out-of-body experience puzzled him because it contradicted metaphysical materialism. He shared the details of his wife's experience and asked me what I thought. I explained that her out-of-body experience is impossible if metaphysical materialism is true, but it makes sense if mind-body dualism is true, i.e., that we have a non-material mind or soul and a material body, and the brain interacts with the non-material mind, but does not merely create the mind as a materialistic epiphenomenon, and the non-material mind can influence the material brain. He pondered this, and for the first time, and over the following months, he became more open to mind-body dualism, and then to the evidence for the supernatural, and the existence of God. Over the next couple of years, as we continued to meet and discuss evidence, and the various philosophical and experiential arguments for God, he changed his mind from his agnostic atheism to come to deism, and then to theism. The details of his wife's out-of-body experience are briefly summarized below. For privacy, I will use the names Alice, Bob, and Claire, borrowing from quantum mechanics. Bob is my atheist friend, Alice is his wife, Claire is his wife's friend. Alice believed in metaphysical materialism, just like Bob did. Alice drove to Claire's apartment to visit, but Claire was out running errands. Claire's family let Alice in, and she waited for Claire. It was a warm afternoon, and Alice nodded off, while sitting on the couch in Claire's second-floor apartment. In a while, Alice experienced her first ever out-of-body experience. She felt her consciousness leave her body and rise up above her body, so she could look down and see her body, asleep on the couch. Her consciousness then went up through the roof of the apartment, and she felt like she was sitting on top of the roof looking over the neighborhood. She mentioned that she could feel a breeze flowing through her hair as she sat there. Then she saw a red car speeding through the neighborhood. The car ran through a traffic stop sign at an intersection without stopping, then drove up to the apartment and drove over a corner of the apartment lawn to park on a driveway. For some reason, she noticed that the car ran over a sprinkler head at the corner of the lawn. In the out-of-body experience, Alice then saw Claire get out of the car and walk toward the stairs that led to the apartment. A few minutes later, the doorbell to Claire's apartment rang, and Alice woke up. She went to the door and opened it to see Claire at the door. Alice then asked Claire why she had run a stop sign, and mentioned that she had run over a lawn sprinkler head. Claire was astonished and asked Alice how she knew these things. Alice then realized that she had had an out-of-body experience. Claire suggested that Alice must have seen her driving from one of the windows of the apartment, or from the front door. So, they checked all of the windows of the apartment, and front door entrance of the apartment. None of those locations had a direct line of sight to the stop sign at the intersection, or to the corner of the lawn with the sprinkler head. Both Alice and Claire were very surprised at this, since this was the first, and only, time that Alice had an out-of-body experience. That evening, Alice shared these events with her husband, Bob. Bob was skeptical, so the next day, they drove together to Claire's apartment, and Bob confirmed that there was no line of sight from the windows or the door to the stop sign or the corner of the lawn. When Bob and I met a week or two later, he shared these events with me, and how he had tried to explain these events away assuming metaphysical materialism to be true. He mentioned that he was puzzled by these events. That is when I explained that Alice's out-of-body experience is impossible if metaphysical materialism is true, but it makes sense if mind-body dualism is true, i.e., that we have a non-material mind or soul, and a material body, and the brain interacts with the non-material mind, but does not merely create the mind as a materialistic epiphenomenon, and the non-material mind can influence the material brain. Bob pondered this, and for the first time, and over the following months, he became more open to mind-body dualism, and then to the evidence for the supernatural, and the existence of God. Over the next couple of years, As we continued to meet and discuss evidence, and the various philosophical and experiential arguments for God, he changed his mind from his agnostic atheism to come to deism and then to theism. Over time, I met several other individuals who had experienced out-of-body experiences, where they felt their consciousness leave their body and move up to a higher elevation, so they could look down on their body from a third-party perspective. They were struck by their out-of-body experiences as well. Conclusion. In this video, we discussed a real-life out-of-body experience from the life of a friend of mine, who I have known for many years. This is one of many pieces of evidence that over time have convinced me of the reality of mind-body dualism and of the core of the Christian theistic worldview. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and comment below if you agree or would like to add your thoughts.